keeping someone in the wrong role is not kindness, it's negligence. And that can't be tolerated when you're leading any kind of a ship.
The things you watch are the things that always stay improved, that always stay in check, right?
What happens when the tide actually rises? So when the business is growing, what's actually happening? Decisions are getting faster, standards are getting higher, and here's the big one. Mistakes get really, really expensive. All right, welcome back to the 3PX show. We are glad, where am I looking? Welcome back to the 3PX show. We're glad you're here.
Yes, we are.
There are a lot of times when we come in the mornings, where it's like, okay, it's kind of early. I got to rally, put off a good vibe, but I'm really in a good mood.
Well, fantastic.
I'm really in a good mood. We've just had such amazing things happening.
We have. That's actually
people,
really cool. Yeah.
With our companies, and it's like, I told Wayne last week, or maybe the week before, I don't want to be a liar. I said, hey, things are going good. Now's the time we got to watch,
right?
Pay attention, ask questions, be careful. Like, now's not the time to settle down. But new product launch went smoother than any product launch we have ever had, probably in your history.
Sold out of the product that we had in 4 days.
And then sold out of the extra emergency PO that we had to cut before it even landed. All right. I'm excited about this one because we specifically, but as I try to set these podcasts up, I try to talk about things that, like, we're dealing with, we're in the middle of, we're facing, so because we're not going to be up here, being fake. We're trying to talk about things that we've been through and that you can learn from our mistakes, or stuff that we're trying to navigate right now, and we're learning and all that kind of stuff. So this is one of those topics where really this episode and the next episode you're not going to want to miss. So hang in there. But these next two episodes, these are things that we have had to battle through, go through, fight through, and really they can be culminated. Like, this one sentence talks about today and the next episode, and that is filtering people and filtering work.
Right.
They go hand in hand. So, the way I want to kick this off is, everybody loves the saying that a rising tide lifts all ships, but nobody talks about what happens when some of those ships need to stay back at port.
Yeah.
Right?
Not everything needs to move all at once, right?
Not everything needs to move. And so when a business is growing and things are moving fast, it forces everyone inside the company to move faster, to learn, to grow. But there are a lot of times where people just don't have that capacity or that ability. And that's what we're going to get into today, is how do you navigate those tough situations?
Yeah, and that's a good point. It actually tests the entire vessel, right? So when you're moving super fast, you're testing not only the people, but you're testing the overall vessel of the ship, kind of thing, where, hey, is it leaking? And that's when you find the leaks.
And
if it's sitting still, it may not leak at all, but when you start moving, it's going to test the boundaries of everything, and it's going to test the people that are on board, that are actually leading the ship, to make sure everything is working properly. So it's a big deal. Yeah,
and what you're talking about here is basically with regard to the ship. When you're growing, growth creates pressure, and pressure. Did I just say pressure?
Pressure, you did. That's a new word that just combines them both together. So
growth creates pressure. And then pressure exposes issues. It exposes good things. It exposes bad things. And then after that, you're stuck with reality. So growth, pressure, exposure, reality. What you choose to do as a leader when you see that reality, this is where leadership can get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think I have said this before. I'm going to say it again, just for the context of this podcast. And I don't mean this in any kind of way, positive, negative, or anything towards anyone who's works for us now, used to work for us, or anything like that. But when you look at the executive team that you have today, there isn't anyone on that team who was here before me.
That's true.
And that's
very
true. And that's not a good or a bad thing. It just happened to be a necessary thing,
right,
for us to keep moving and keep growing.
Yeah, well, as you continue to grow, you continue to expand, and it's not that we're out trying to replace people. It's just you've gotta grow and lift and elevate the people that you have with you, and sometimes you got to bring in new people that can add more expertise and have different values to them and stuff. And so as you grow, that's just part of the overall cycle.
Yeah. Now, if you look at I hate to make it sound like we're some big conglomerate, but if you look at the layers of management that we have inside of our company,
Right.
from the quote unquote top down, what you will see is a very high percentage, 100%. Outside of Wayne keeps us from being 100%. So 80%, I guess that would be our executive team. 80
Right.
or so percent is newer in the last 4 or 5 years.
Right.
Right. But when you go the next level down and you look at our senior leaders, directors, senior level manager positions, now you're about 50-50.
Right.
It's like half have been here for 5 or more years, and the other half are new. So we have a very good blend, a very good mix. And then when you go down, like specifically with the operations side to that next level, well, now you're like 75% of that team has been with us for over 5 years.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's a good story of, and we actually have things to talk about here, but this is so easy to talk about because we're living in it. That's a good story of balancing. Hey, we're bringing in the right, fresh talent,
right,
to keep the business moving into territories that we have never been before. We're bringing in managers who can bring some expertise in specific departments, skill sets to add value to the organization. At the same time, we are developing internal talent to keep the culture, to keep the quote unquote tribal knowledge, on board. And then the people who are closest to the action,
right,
the vast majority of those have been with us for an extremely long time. And I feel like we have done a really, really good job keeping those individuals engaged, giving them opportunity to continue to grow, make more money, do more things, elevate their leadership. So we have put ourselves in a good position very intentionally.
Yeah, which is super important. I mean, and it's I used to always say the saying where as we elevate, as we start learning your job, it's how was I going to try to say? It's talking about succession planning, but one of the things that I always say was, work yourself out of a job. Work yourself to where you have people that can come in. So when it's time to grow and to expand, you want to be able to take that next step. So you need to make sure you got a person behind you can do it. That's how I'd look at it. You called it succession planning, which is more in line with what truly is. But, that's one of the things that you brought when you came in is, hey, let's really lay it out. Let's make sure that we have every single position lined out. So in case something happens or whatever, because we don't know what the unseen is, right? What tomorrow holds for us. And so we need to make sure that we're level on every area of the business. And so that's been super important. So as we've brought in new leaders, we're still developing and still pouring into the leaders, even the ones that have been here for a long time. We want those to elevate, right, to where they can get into better positions. And for the most part, they have. They've done a great job in doing it and leveled up and part of that. And even with our fall classes that we do where we are trying to get our teams to grow and to strengthen that area, if you look at every position within the company, we're pretty solid. I mean, we're pretty, 1, 2, 3 deep kind of thing, which is a super nice feeling. I mean, that's when you look at a good football team or whatever, they have depth, and that's one of the things that I think we're pretty strong at is having pretty good depth in our system.
Yeah, we're not afraid of people going on vacation anymore.
No, we're not at all.
We're not held hostage by anybody anymore.
And that's a huge thing. I mean, a lot of business owners are, and a lot of business owners feel like they can't live and they can't do anything, or even the managers around them, because they are stuck in the middle of the action 24/7, and because there's nobody behind them that can fill their shoes.
Absolutely, and you've walked that life for a long time, right?
Long time.
You're not talking to business owners because you've never been there before. You know what that feels like to be sort of quote unquote stuck.
Yeah,
kind of
and
thing.
that's a tough position. Nobody wants to be in that position. Everybody wants to be able to hey, let's build a business, let's make it have success, to where I can step away and go on vacation, go enjoy life, make a little bit of money, and the reality is, you end up being married to it if you don't watch out and really try to build a program that's to that point. And don't be afraid if you're a business owner. Don't be afraid to hire people that are smarter than you, to bring in teams that bring a value that your organization doesn't have. And when you do that, you can see the elevation just start happening in front of you to where, hey, I don't have to worry about that anymore. I don't have to worry about this side over here anymore. And again, I look at it in my position right now. I mean, I'm in a really sweet spot, because really anything outside of my door is what I tell people. You run it, you do a great job with it, and I don't have to worry about too much. I mean, we talk and we go over things, but for the most part, you're running it. But you have such a solid team that works underneath you that, again, you can go on vacation yourself and enjoy vacation yourself at this point.
I just scheduled one.
I know.
My typical Thursday through Sunday.
Hey,
you know me.
Well, you got to start somewhere, right? Because it's funny that you say that, because
you forced the last vacation I went. Actually, the only vacation I can remember where I was out for an entire week. You forced me to take it.
I did.
Sure did.
The funny thing is, for years, I would go on a Thursday evening to Monday vacation, or sometimes even come back on Sundays. And that was it, just many vacations, a little pop here, a little pop there, and all that, because I didn't want to be gone the whole week. And so now I've been able to take the full week vacations. Now I'm seeing you in that position, but still you start at one point, because you didn't want to take vacations for a while.
It's hard. You said this on the last episode or two. It's just who we are, and I can't turn it off, but also I don't want to turn it off.
Yeah, it's fun.
I enjoy.
Yeah.
Thinking about what we do and staying connected, and so. And
just because we go on vacation doesn't mean we turn it off, right?
Stephanie
still says to me, even if we're gone a full week or something, she's like, are you going to work the whole time? I'm like, honey, this is just who I am. I mean, I enjoy getting up in the morning and, I'm going to have coffee. I'm going to do a little bit of work, and I'm going to, I got my phone with me. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. Because just about everywhere in the world now has Wi-Fi service, and so you can get on your phone and you can check emails. And as long as I can check emails, I'm pretty much in tune with what's going on, because that and Teams.
I feel like we're chasing a rabbit here, but I just want to say that it makes me think. I can't think of a time where I have really unplugged, except for maybe my first back surgery, I think, and that's because I was out of it for the first, few days. But to me, when it comes to leaving work, there's not a whole lot worse I can think of than when you come back on Monday and you don't know what's happened the last week, and you just feel like you've missed so much, and it takes so long to get caught up and all that kind of stuff. But so this is not a problem with our people. This is a problem with Wayne and Steve. It's just I would rather stay connected. I would rather know what's happening. I can still enjoy a vacation. I can still have fun and all that. I just need a couple hours throughout the day, or early or late, whatever, to just read everything, know everything, and then I'm good. That way you get back in the saddle and you're not slowing the team down. You can just jump right back in and keep moving.
Well, you said that this is not a problem for Wayne and Steve. The funny thing is, it's really not a problem. Because it's every business owner that's out there that's trying to have a successful business, and it's every executive that's out there, because you can unplug, but you don't unplug, right? Mm-hmm. Now, this past trip that Stephanie and I made when we went to Park City and then into San Diego to see Allison, I never once opened my laptop.
I don't believe that.
I didn't.
How are you going to get up on this podcast and lie?
No,
you didn't really open your laptop?
I had my phone, but I never took my laptop out of my That may have been the first time ever, because we left on a Wednesday, got back on a Tuesday, so basically a full week out of work. But I never opened up my laptop. I didn't have to.
But you had it with you.
I had it with me. Trust me, it was with me the whole entire time.
Okay, the last time we traveled, I didn't even bring my laptop, because the time before I never opened it. Everything I did was on my phone. I'm like, I didn't even bring it.
Yeah.
So
it still scares me.
Well, but I don't have to do. Your problem is you really have to do some very specific high security banking type things.
Yeah, true.
That require you to open your laptop if we get into a pinch. Now we have added some redundancy to the business. I'll never forget. It wasn't too long ago where if we needed like transfers or transactions or something that be done between accounts or between banks, it's like no matter where Wayne was, whether he was in the country, out of the country, or whatever, like we were getting a hold of Wayne. Hey, can you log in and approve this, or can you move
Yeah.
this, or do this, or whatever. So we've added some redundancies to take that pressure off you, where now we actually have someone else that can, do that
And
kind of
that,
stuff
I
for
haven't
you.
had to do that in a long time. I don't even, I still look at cash flow. Trust me, I look at that still like a hawk, but I haven't touched my cash flow system in quite a while because it's, and that's very good because, Angela's overseeing that part of it, but Jonathan is actually running it and stuff. And so Angela can do it, Jonathan can do it, and I can do it. And so it's, and it works, so that's a good part about it. I don't have to think about that at all.
This is still technically on topic, but we're going to stop it. We're going to stop in 20 minutes, whether we're done or not. Okay. But I just want to say the value of trust, and loyalty can have a bad connotation. And I'm going to get into loyalty in a minute here. But I'm going to say loyalty in the very best possible sense. Loyalty because you love what you do, you love the person you're doing it for, or the person you're doing it with, and you love the people who are around you. So loyalty is very good in that sense. Loyalty can be bad if it's like abusive kind of loyalty, right?
Exactly.
But when I think about the team that we have, specifically Angela, now this goes along with what we were saying. Now, Angela was in like a controller role before she came to us. When we hired Angela, we brought her in as an accounting manager, right? And right away we saw like she's different.
Yeah.
Ultra committed, got in the weeds, fixed things, didn't tolerate problems, didn't tolerate issues, didn't just delegate problems away to other people. She got invested. I mean, I could do a whole podcast just watching the evolution of Angela Sloan inside this business.
Right.
From an operator and also from a leadership perspective, having confrontational conversations,
Right.
managing up, confronting me, confronting you, having difficult conversations that she otherwise never would have had, putting herself in situations with other very high-level leaders, very high-level executives from other organizations, and really not just holding her own in those conversations and in those meetings, but shining,
Right.
right? That is an example of you've got diamonds in the rough in your business, and you've got to recognize who those people are and then intentionally pour into them because she had she has the loyalty and the integrity and the honesty of someone that you want to be able to give all your cash access to,
Yep.
all your passwords to. Like that's a big win for us.
Yeah.
And
she's really owned it well. Like you said, when she came in as an accounting manager, we saw the difference in her. We talked about this in our last leadership meeting, I think last Thursday, about, the visionary integrator dynamic, right? And everybody was like, well, what about my department? Am I still like just an integrator or am I a doer? It says, well, really, each department you trickle that down to where, hey, Angela is the visionary for the accounting side of it, which she is. I mean, you look
really
at what
is.
she built, it's not something that we look at and say, oh, well, we're going to do this, this, and this, and turn those switches. Well, no, that's her department, and she has built a really rock-solid team, right? I mean, over the past few years, when she came in, 3 to 4 years ago, about a year after you did,
about
maybe?
a year after me.
As she came in, you look at where we were then and where we are today in our accounting system. That's a tremendous build. I mean, I couldn't have envisioned where we are now back then, and she has been the visionary. She's seen it. She's built it. And she's building that succession planning super solid and super strong. And you've done that. You've seen, and you're going to start seeing Jim doing that as well. And so it's not just, they may be more of the doers when it comes into the our ELT, but as they go in their specific departments, now they're the visionary because they're looking at it and saying, okay, here's how this is going to work. This is the picture that I see, the big picture. And we're just on the backside looking and seeing how they're going to build that and seeing them take that piece and building a masterpiece out of it.
Yeah.
So.
And just to nail this point down, and then we're going to talk about the lie we tell ourselves with regard to growth, and that is as Wayne and I really in the last couple of years have partnered more on this, but Wayne had the reins, really 100%, and that was setting the strategy and the vision for forward companies. What are the things that we want to do? What do we want to go after? Who do we want to become? What do we want to evolve into? Well, it takes an executive team under that to have the vision of what does their department need to look like to support that division, that vision. And what Angela did was she said, okay, we need an accounting infrastructure that supports a multi-business entity.
Yep.
So she took our accounting software and we upgraded it so that we could start doing consolidated financials, managing multi-business units in one platform, being able to pay bills and all that kind of stuff. And then we actually, shout out to First Horizon and some of our key financial relationships around here. One of them primarily is First Horizon. She was instrumental in making that relationship work really good for us because she said, "Hey, this is a bank that they're launching some new systems. I believe they had a new software, and the things that you can do online with their bank match the things that we need to do. So let's align our accounts here and there." But she's the one who set the vision for that department on how accounting and purchasing should work to match the overall vision of the company.
Yeah. And you got to have that. And in every single department, the accounting is just one that we're making an example of. But that is such a true statement, such a strong area because, if you don't have that structure, I mean, really, when you came in, I look at us, we were probably like and I think somebody mentioned it, that my word is probably going to be a little bit different, but we were like a bobblehead, where just the top is so big that if we don't build that structure underneath, that we're going to fall over at some point, because we focused everything on the online side of the business, and we really didn't build out the structure underneath to make sure it's very stable. And so when you came in, you started building the structure and building the stability to it. And now you look at us, we're just, if you're a bodybuilder, we got really big, strong traps. Our shoulders are strong. Our head is now all of a sudden the proportion is correct, right? And so
okay. No pictures of bodybuilders while Wayne is saying that. Okay.
No pictures.
Quentin, no pictures of bodybuilders.
Yeah. We'll flex.
Unless it's old Wayne and new Wayne.
Oh my gosh,
okay.
Whatever.
That's new Wayne is very fit and proportioned well. Old Wayne, not so much.
Well, the body was bigger in the old Wayne. I don't know.
Girth.
My face was pretty.
Old Wayne had some.
Man, tell me about
girth. Okay. All right. Segment 1. This is actually okay. We just spent 30 minutes. We didn't even talk about segment 1. Segment 1. Okay, but some lies that we tell ourselves regarding our people when we're growing. The first lie here is that growth will fix people. Now, the reason why we tell ourselves that is because when you're in growth mode, you think, I just need to hire more help.
Yeah.
And that will fix my people issues. The reason why people are breaking down, the reason why we're having issues is because people are stressed. They're doing too much. We're growing. We need to add more people. And that's a lie. The reason why growth does not fix people is because your leaders are not used to leading larger departments. So when it's one person who's been with you for 5 years and they're managing 2 other people who've also been with you for 5 years or more, it's easy. But then as you grow and you hire more people to do more work, what breaks is that supervisor, that manager, that director, that whatever that was doing great managing their 2 buddies that they've worked with for the last 5 years or family members.
Yeah.
If it's, if it starts as a small business, a lot of the people you hire are friends and family, right? That's how we grow small businesses.
Exactly.
Now they're leading 5 or 6 people. 4 of them are brand new that don't even know the business that you have to train, and you've got turnover that starts happening and things break. Growth does not fix people, period.
Well, it exposes the problem, right? It exposes your growth part of it.
That's exactly right.
Yes, and so as you're growing, again, it exposes the leadership, and it's not saying that person that's leading can't level up and get there. It's just they weren't prepared for the growth a lot of times, and honestly, that's just where it starts. Is all of a sudden there's this big impact of growth. And, with us, we've been on a growth spurt for the past 15 years kind of thing, except for right around COVID. But, so it's exposed a lot over the years. And and that's exactly where we've been here lately is as we're starting, we can already start feeling that expansion starting to happen right now. And so we know it's coming, but, if you prepare for it all the time and really train your people, not only does it expose it, but it also allows us to understand where our leadership is in that chain and how they're growing. And then how can we come beside them and help them elevate?
You said it exactly. How do we come beside them and help them elevate? Now, but that takes where you understand, hey, we're growing, and a year from now, this department, we're going to have to add 2 more people.
Yeah.
You have to be very intentional about that leader. What are the gaps that you see in that leader?
Yeah.
You have to go all the way back to hiring. Okay. Chances are, if you're a small business and you're growing, you don't even have an HR department. So
Right.
you don't have a recruiter. You don't have someone pre-screening candidates. How do you know that a candidate even qualifies for a job, doesn't qualify for a job? So your frontline managers, they're posting ads on Facebook or on LinkedIn or Indeed or whatever.
Wherever they can.
Right.
Yep.
Wherever they can. They don't understand what to look for in a candidate. They don't know how to interview properly a candidate. They don't know what to say, what not to say. They don't know how to make an offer, how to explain benefits. They don't know how to explain the expectation of the job, core values of the organization, right? Like it starts right at the hiring process where leaders who are growing in their role start to fail because growth is exposing things that they've never had to do before. That's our responsibility as leaders to recognize that. And then to your point, come alongside them, give them the support, give them the training, help them, do it for them the first couple times, get them elevated, and then go. But if you don't do that, you know what you're going to do? You're going to lose that internal manager.
Yep.
You're going to have to hire someone from the outside who might know all those things, but now they don't know your business.
And they don't know the people.
And they don't know the people. And then the people under them are frustrated because I've heard this before. This is the second boss that I've had to train.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Right.
Right. I have been told that in this organization. Actually, I've been told that more than once.
Right.
Okay. But that's because, I'll take ownership for this because I failed elevating the leader or the manager that was in that role to get them to a position where they were able to handle the additional growth and responsibility.
Yeah. But you also have on the other side of that, you also have where people just coming and HR come at that, maybe not even HR, like you said, we didn't have, but it's like, hey, I need somebody now. Just get me a warm body to come in and fill that role. I just get me somebody and I'll train them. Well, you get somebody and you put them in, but who has the time to train? Well, you got to take that time to train. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it means that as a leader, sometimes you have to do what's better for the company more than you have to do what's better for you. And that's a hard thing for people to understand a lot of times. And so when you bring someone in new, you have to spend that time to do it. Sometimes you have to work instead of 40 hours a week like you're used to as a leader. Leadership doesn't have a certain set hours of how many hours that you work. Sometimes you got to work 45 or 50 hours. Sometimes you got to work 60. We've all done that. We've all been there. It's not something that we always like to do or want to do, but sometimes you got to put in the time to not only make sure you get the job done, but also invest in that team, invest in that person to make sure they can level up. Because as soon as you can get them leveled up and get them to the point, especially if they got that potential, the better it's going to make the whole overall problem.
And it does amazing things for your culture and your organization when you can level people up internally.
Yeah.
It just helps strengthen.
It does. Well, then they know that they've got an opportunity to grow within the company because you're not always bringing outside people in.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I'm really struggling right now to not drink my entire coffee.
Yeah.
Because it's so good. So I brought my Nespresso machine from home. You're going to have to go get another one before we film the next episode. I brought my Nespresso machine from home. So I got Nespresso and this oat milk. It's like this Italian cream oat milk flavoring. And I do put like a couple of stevias in there. Dude, it's so good.
So you're talking about running off the rails. All of a sudden we're talking about something and then we go straight into the coffee kind of thing.
So I'm drinking a lot, but I'm like taking baby sips because I need it to last another hour.
Need it to last another. Well, you can always make another one.
I could. I don't know why psychologically I fall into the same routines. Like if you've noticed me every morning, I do the same exact things every single morning.
Yeah.
And having only 1 cup of coffee per day in the morning is one of my routines. I would actually love to have a second cup. But psychologically, because that's not my pattern, I just can't seem to break it.
I've already had 2 cups.
That sounds I know it sounds wild. Okay. Loyalty. Here's the other lie that we tell ourselves. And okay, we're really going to move fast now. I promise. I say that we actually have 5 segments in this. The other lie we tell ourselves is loyalty equals keeping everyone. That's loyalty. Yeah. You're throwing it away now?
No, I'm not throwing it away.
Toss it.
I was just moving it around. I flipped it over and I shouldn't have.
The lie we tell ourselves is loyalty equals keeping everyone. So as you're growing as business owners, you're struggling we got to keep the family together. It feels like a family. This is a family environment. So you naturally think loyalty is I got to find ways to keep people together. And that's a lie that we tell ourselves. Now, I'm not saying that it's not great to work hard to keep people who've been with you for a long time. The problem is they can't hold you hostage because then that becomes a serious issue.
Right.
And the other thing is you are not doing them any favors by holding back difficult conversations, areas of opportunity where they need to grow. So you're walking around all day long, laying in bed at night, you're carrying the weight of, Susie or Joey or whoever that is struggling with these issues, and you know what's wrong and you see it, but you don't tell them because you're afraid that it'll make them upset, or you're afraid if you have a hard conversation that they'll quit. Loyalty does not equal keeping people.
Right.
Period.
Man, that's such a good part, because it doesn't. I mean, and as hard as we want to have that loyalty and keep everybody in place, and we work hard at doing that, but it does them a disservice if they're not fulfilling that position, or they don't have the potential in that part of it. It doesn't mean that they don't have the potential. It just means that, hey, maybe this is not the right spot for them. And then you look and say, okay, is there another spot? They're great people. They're just wrong, right person, wrong seat.
Yes.
Right. And so that's a big deal. We've had to really look at that over the years, because we have great people, and sometimes they're the right person in the wrong seat. And then, and I can't remember, I know we've had this happen to us several times, but you take them as like, man, what can we do with this person, and how can we move them? They're just not in the right spot. But then you move them and you find that, wow, they just hit the right spot. They just moved. Now they're the right person in the right seat. Oh, I know exactly who.
Okay. I wasn't going to say his name because
you got to say it.
I will. But before I say it, he falls into this.
He does.
Okay. But before I say it, just so people listening or watching don't think I'm a liar, how many reorganizations have I done?
Dude.
How many people have I moved around, changed positions, moved from department to department? Every 6 months, you can count on me, January and July, somebody's moving, something's changing.
Yeah.
I try to only do it twice a year because I don't want to cause disruption. But then I also want to do it at a cadence where people kind of expect, okay, if there's something's going to happen or somebody's going to move departments, it's going to happen during this particular time frame.
Yeah.
So, and probably more than half the time, I got it wrong. But when you recognize that someone's in a role that they're just not succeeding in, you have to do something about it. It doesn't mean that I'm going to put them in a position now where they're going to all of a sudden be successful. I might get that wrong too. And I may have to move them again. But it's our responsibility when you've got great people who display our culture, our core focus, our core values. They love being here. They're hungry to learn. I feel like it's my responsibility to find a way to set that person up for success.
Right.
So sometimes, people get moved around. But I'm not going to keep them in a position where they're not successful, or at least where I, as the leader, I believe they're not successful, because people can disagree. And I'll let you, because he's probably running right now while he's listening to this.
Yeah, he probably is. I'll tell you what, Steven Wilson has absolutely crushed his new role. But you know what I love about that part too, though.
And how many jobs has he had around here?
He's had quite a few.
More than 5.
Probably more than 5.
Probably.
But I'm going to throw this out there real quick. Stephen has never done a bad job at any job that he's done.
Agreed.
It was just finding the job that he just absolutely excelled at. And you never know, right? But the new position that he's been in for about 2 years now, I mean, he is just absolutely owned. He's crushing it, doing a fantastic job. I don't know. I don't think anybody really saw it coming because it's moving to different places. But what I love about what he's done, and we've got others that do the same thing, have done the same thing. And I've always talked about my story of you learn certain things as you go along. You know, you've been under this boss or you've been doing this. And as you move, you know, I did mine by when I was early in my career, not with CDF, but when I was working for my dad, don't chase rabbits. When I was working for this guy, how to treat people. You learn different things as you go through. We all do because it's called experience. And then you start developing your leadership style. In a sense, Stephen's done that here. He's worked for different people. He's worked in different positions. He knows the organization really, really well. You know, Stephen is 31, and he has been here 11 years, 12 years.
Just had his anniversary.
Yeah,
not too long ago.
And so he's been here a long time. I mean, he was in college when he started here, and you know, and he started out as just doing data entry, but he's worked his way through. But he understands the business so well. But you know, he's that person that you look and say, hey, maybe this wasn't the right spot for him, but he learned every step of the way, and he took it. He took constructive criticism extremely well. Sometimes, you know, that hurts, right? Sometimes it's hard to get past that. But Stephen persevered, and he went through, and he every stop, he learned so well. But he's owned it and is absolutely crushing it. He's, you know, that you can almost say that poster child that just like, yeah, he gets it.
And shout out to his he was very is it retrospective? When something happens, he can look back on it, and the trust that he put in us, because a lot of other more immature, emotionally immature leaders would have said, "Well, they must not want me around here," or whatever. And and the opposite was true. We wanted him around here so much. We were working hard to find a spot where he could really be successful, love what he was doing, all that kind of stuff. And I feel like we've found that spot for him. And to no effort of our own, he's done all the work, you know.
Yeah. He owns it 100%. And that's exactly what you want from when you move somebody into a position like that, you want that type of success. And it doesn't happen every time. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it takes multiple moves.
Most of the time,
yeah.
Like nobody's ever, I don't know any leaders in my, you know, it feels short, but I guess over 20-year, you know, kind of leading and managing people. I don't know anyone who's better than 50%.
Yeah. With
moves, hires. Like, we're all batting about 300. If you're good, you're batting 300.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's all-star, right?
Yeah.
And so, but sometimes that takes development. It takes time to go through that. And again, you learn as you go through every step. You know, hey, what did I do, or what could I have done better, or however. And so, shout out to him. He's done a phenomenal job over the past couple of years where he's at. He's definitely the right person in the right seat.
For the record, when I said I was going to land this thing in 20 minutes, I wasn't lying. I had every intention of doing that.
Yeah.
I've just decided it's not going to be possible. So we're going to have to just go a little bit longer. That's fine, because you can always push pause and come back to this. But that just means the next one we film, like, we got to be tight.
Yeah.
Because I got work to do after this. So, all right, what happens when the tide actually rises? So when the business is growing, what's actually happening? Decisions are getting faster, standards are getting higher, and here's the big one. Mistakes get really, really expensive, because it's not just one thing. Oh, we got to replace this one door. It's procurement slowed down, accounting slowed down, operations slowed down, sales had to get involved with it. Like, because you're a larger ship now, you've got more moving pieces. It's not just the dollar value of that, of having to replace that thing or whatever. It's the whole ship almost starts to grind to a halt, and that makes those things really, really expensive. And if you have leaders that are not positioned well to manage that growth when the tide rises, then leaders stall. They actually avoid making decisions, so you get this ownership delegation as opposed to the leader owning it, making the decision, and moving on. They avoid making those decisions. They delegate responsibility where they shouldn't. And then standards actually get lower because people get used to kind of workarounds. They get used to errors. They get used to issues. And now the next thing you know, everybody's showing up late to work.
Right.
It's, kind of thing. So there's major danger in the tide rising and you as a leader not being hyper focused on what's happening with the frontline leadership and the team members all around you.
Well, you can never let your let things just slide and get out of your control, out of your hands. If you do, that's a reflection of leadership. And as we've grown, we've just got to continue to grow. You continue to push the team to make sure that we don't let it slip, and especially when things are going good, right? When things are going bad, it's easy to jump in and say, "Hey, how do we fix this? How do we correct the issue?" But when things are going really well, that's not the time to sit back and relax. That's the time that let's make sure that it doesn't go backwards again. Let's make sure that we continue to keep focused and continue to make sure that the people are all in the right spots and doing. And when we start seeing as we move and as we start seeing water creeping in or things happening into the ship, that we address those issues as quickly as we possibly can. And like you said, that comes back to having those conversations. That comes back to evaluating every single position just to make sure that we don't have issues going down the road. Because if you see them now, it doesn't mean that they're going to get better when it gets bigger. It means that it's probably going to get worse when it gets bigger, right? That hole's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Dude.
And duct tape doesn't work.
Okay. So you remember how we had a few episodes ago, the picture, and we showed it on the screen with the jet ski?
Yes.
And it was crystal clear, and then you look in the back in the wake. So yesterday, I don't know why I'm targeted by Facebook on these funny videos. And this is what we're talking about. So they're just driving the boat along, and they're pulling this inner tube, and they make a turn and whatever, and they're having fun looking out on the boat, and then the camera turns back, and all you see is the inner tube hit this wake, and the people just explode
Yes,
all over the place, right?
Yes.
That's what's happening in your business right now. If you're growing and you're not looking back to see what's happening with the people, they're getting thrown off the inner tube.
Everywhere.
All over the place.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And then what do you have to do? You got to slow the boat down, turn around,
and go pick them up.
Go pick everybody up.
Make sure there's no broken limbs.
Make sure everybody's okay.
Yeah.
Get them back onto the raft.
Yeah.
And then when you go again, you got to go slower. Hey, trust me, I won't do that again to you. Now, that is a great, a visual of exactly what happens in a growing business.
No, right.
They did explode off that thing. I mean, it's like they all four of them went all different directions when they hit that bump in the water.
And sometimes it's the people that's on the raft. It's not the boat driver. Sometimes it's the ones on the raft that tell the boat driver, "Oh yeah, we're good. Go faster. We want a challenge."
Faster, Dad.
Yeah, faster. I've done that, and I've slung some buddies off that and they land and they get back on. It's like, okay, I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe slower next time.
Slower next time. Don't challenge me like that.
Okay. We kind of talked a little bit about this, but I just want to mention the hard call. This is where loyalty does not equal keeping people. You've got three things you got to check. You've only got three paths you can take. First thing is, can you coach the person up? And that's every leader's desire. But I will challenge you as a leader or a manager, if you're not pushing yourself, if you're not learning, if you're not reading, if you're not growing, if you're not learning from other people's mistakes, then you have no right or authority to try to bring someone else up or lift them up. If you're not growing and developing, then you can't pull people up with you, okay? But the first goal is
what I say is not do it as I do, right?
Yes. Do not be the person who is do as I say, not as I do. You've got to lead by example, and people should see your example by what you do. They should not only know your example by what they hear you saying. You got to do it with action. The next thing after coaching, and this is what we talked about. This is what I'm famous for, and whether I get it right, which I get wrong most of the time, and that's redeploy people.
Yeah.
If you recognize that someone's not successful in the role, or maybe they're just getting burned out, right? If they've been with you for a long time, they've been doing the same thing over and over again, maybe it's time to go from shipping to accounting or something, right? Give them a change of scenery, redeploy, try to find a role that they might love, that they might do really, really good in, and that should be a two-way conversation. And if that doesn't work, then you have to make the call to exit that person to protect the business. Because if you're not making those hard decisions, keeping someone in the wrong role is not kindness, it's negligence. And that can't be tolerated when you're leading any kind of a ship.
Right. Not at all. I mean, you cannot
But we do it.
all the time.
We do it. And there's people listening, right? You and I did it. We've made those mistakes. There's people listening right now. So avoiding that difficult conversation, yeah, it might make your tomorrow go a little bit more smooth, but you're sacrificing such a great future by not having that awkward, difficult conversation today.
And the longer you wait on that, just it doesn't go away. Because trust me, I've done it in the past where it's like, man, if I don't want to have that conversation, and if I just avoid it, it'll go away. And there might be a time or two in where it does, but I can't remember when, and it's gonna get worse. And sometimes it's having that conversation. They're on this place, and you're in this place, and when you have that conversation, you come to this place, and it wasn't because it was anything wrong. It's just sometimes it's interpretation, right? Sometimes it's like, well, that's not what I thought you were talking about. Oh, well, it's just then it comes back to clear expectations, right? To make sure that you're all in the right position. But just have that conversation, and as we have, that's part of our training as we've gone through several of the books together as teams, how to have the conversations and how to receive the conversations. Mm-hmm. That's just as big of a part of it is, because sometimes if you're a small business and you're having those awkward conversations or having those tough calls, it's really hard for some people that haven't been trained that way, that they look at that as not necessarily constructive criticism. They look at that as criticism, and you're targeting me and that kind of thing. And when you start learning how to have the right type of conversation and learning how to receive it, number one, learning how to give it, and number two, learning how to receive it. And if you can give it, you need to learn how to take it back, right? And make sure that you have those conversations in the right way.
So I don't know if this is the right name for this. I'm not a scientist or whatever. So if this is wrong, nobody throw darts at me. But I think it's called chaos theory. And I believe that's what it's called. And the theory basically states that anything left basically unattended will naturally move towards chaos, which basically means a worse condition than what it is today, right? For example, if you leave a house unattended, it is going to start falling apart. It's going to get nasty, dirty, whatever. 100%. If you leave your yard unattended, it's going to get overgrown with weeds and all that kind of stuff. If you leave your car unattended, you'll come out one day, the tires are kind of flat. Now they got flat spots on the bottoms. The motor won't turn over because the oil's been sitting there for so long, whatever. That if you think about anything like that, if you leave something alone, it will naturally gravitate into chaos, into a worse condition. Business is the exact same way. So if you are not intentionally touching and working on your culture every day, then it's getting worse, not better. If you're not actively leading your leaders, coaching, training, feeding them, they're not getting better, they're getting worse. Your team members are getting worse. You have to constantly be enforcing these things and touching them, because if not, chaos theory sets in. That's what Wayne's talking about. You can't just sit back and expect the situation to get better with that team member or those two team members or that leader or whatever. The problem isn't going to go away. It is going to get worse. And then when it does get worse and it blows up, it's going to could be lawsuit, hotline call, compliance, somebody gets hurt or injured, or something like that. Then the result of that issue will be far worse than if you just would have sat down and had that difficult conversation and addressed it right then and there.
Yeah. The things you watch are the things that always stay improved, that always stay in check, right? Mm-hmm. A big pet peeve of mine has always been is to make sure we have a clean house, make sure that our place looks good. What I've always, and I drove this home years and years and years ago at the other place, and I don't even have to even say anything about it now, because it was from almost day one. Is if your business is dirty when you walk in, that's the kind of product that you can expect to get out. Something that's unfinished, it's not good. It's because the care is not there. But if your business, when you walk in, it looks great, it's in shape, that's the kind of product you should get out. That's the same way you expect with your people as well. So it doesn't just translate to the product that you get out, it translates to the people that are working there too. Nobody wants to work in a nasty, dirty environment. They want to come into something that they can take pride in, right? And that they can enjoy and being a part of. And that just allows you to have the people that embody the culture that you're in, embody what you do, and then translate into how you grow and into your leadership style and all that kind of thing. I've always, one thing that I look at is when I bring in people from the outside now, the bankers that want to come in and see our new facility, or people that want to walk through because, we're proud of what we have. Well, we've invested a lot of time and effort and money into how this place that we're in now looks. Just like over at the depot when we're doing now, we could have had the car place going a month or two ago, but nobody would have wanted to put their cars there, right? Or wanted to do their thing to it. It's because it's the value that you give, and it's a perception, more than just a perception that you give. It's what you lay out in front of people and what they expect from you as a business owner or as a leader. Now I don't have to say a word. You don't probably have to say a word as to how that from the wall back here goes to the shop. It's going to always look good no matter what because they take pride in what they do. And it's just, again, it's a downward fall of, not downward, but it's one of those that from the top down, this is what we expect. And then that's what our team members expect, our leaders, all that kind of stuff trickle all the way down. Having that part of the culture in it means a whole lot. But it also, as we do that, not only, we have the team that as we teach them, as we read the books together, as we go through the fall classes together, as we do all of that, it just allows us to up our performance all the way around and put the leaders in the position that can make those transitions quickly for us.
Yeah. Small things matter. We didn't spend the money resurfacing the parking lot and restriping the parking lot because it made it easier to park.
Yeah.
We did it because it sends a message that when you pull into our parking lot, we care about this place.
Yeah.
It looks great. It matters. A couple of weeks ago, I was telling Jeff, because every time I walk up, I'm just looking around. I'm looking at the parking lot, looking at the sidewalk and all that. I'm noticing like weeds coming up in the mulch and all that. So I told Jeff, I said, hey, like I don't care if you got to pay the yard guy or if we just buy some weed and feed, but all these weeds, they got to be killed. I don't want to see grass growing up in the parking lot. Those small things matter.
They do.
That doesn't make me a maniac or a micromanager. What it means is we're setting a standard of how we're going to treat our business, of how we're going to treat our facility, and that needs to start from the minute somebody pulls onto the lot. We've only been here a few months. We had all the traffic areas shampooed and treated and all that kind of stuff just this past weekend. Why? Not because it looked bad, but because I'm trying to keep it from looking bad.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that it maintains looking good.
Yeah.
So those are just small examples, but in those situations, small things speak volumes about you as a leader, the expectations that you really have, and then also what's the example that you're setting for the people around you. So yeah, the weeds growing through the cracks in your parking lot, talk about your culture and what you tolerate and what you don't tolerate. Small things like that matter.
That would probably make a very good podcast by itself, keeping the weeds out, right? To where, because that translates. Because I can guarantee you, if you went back and talked to everybody in this whole facility, they understand the importance of keeping the weeds out.
The flags, we replaced the flags. We replaced the pole, the cords on the poles. I mean, just you name it.
Yeah.
Small things matter.
They do.
They matter. And when you get people looking at the small things, like you always say it, right? Take care of the pennies and the dollars take care of themselves, or
100%.
something like that. So same type of thing. All right. See, I am 18 minutes, so I went 40. You can count on me if whatever I say, just double it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But listen, we really appreciate you hanging with us, watching or listening to the 3PX show. We love doing it. If you can't tell, we could sit here and talk for hours. It's probably why we have a podcast. But listen, you're not going to want to miss next episode because we're going to be talking about filtering work. Filtering people when you're growing is important, but filtering work as you're growing is equally as important because you can say yes to the wrong kind of revenue and it can end up hurting you. So I can't wait to get into that with you next. So, hey, hope you enjoyed. Please like, share, subscribe, all the things. Interact with us on social medias. We would love to talk to you. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day. And thank you for watching the 3PX. So,
Thank you. See you. Bye.